Good morning. I'm waiting for my slides to load. I hope you're having a great time in this beautiful morning in Paris. Could I please have my slides? Okay, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I'm truly honored and excited to be here with all of you this week and to be delivering this opening speech. And I really look forward to some of the most action-packed discussions and possibly even decisions. So for many of us, AI is often framed as a story of technology and the modern world, and certainly a story of the future. That's why all of us are here. But for me, it's also a story that reaches so far into the very beginning of all of our existence that it started 500 million years ago. It was such a distant time that the very notion of sight didn't yet exist. In fact, the eyes themselves had yet to evolve, and not a single living thing laid eyes on this world, leaving all life in the darkness you see on the screen now. Of course, 500 million years of history is a little long to unpack in about 10 minutes. So here is the TLDR. The moment evolution endowed the simple creatures you see here on the screen the ability to sense the world around them and to react to these sensations, however dimly, an arms race in evolution began. What started as a passive experience, the simple act of letting in light, soon become much richer and far more active. The nervous system began to evolve. Sight turned into insight. Seeing become understanding. Understanding led to action. And all these give rise to intelligence. And this would reshape the very nature of life on Earth forever. Today, fast forward 500 million years later, human intelligence has led our species to imagine and shape the way we work and live in every possible ways. And we're no longer satisfied with just having nature's gift of intelligence. Our curiosity now urges us to create machines that are just as intelligently as all of us, if not better. Hence, the quest of this seminal technology that we are talking about this week began in the mid-20th century. Alan Turing, a great mathematician in UK, was so prescient that even before computers existed, he was already grappling with the philosophy of endowing them with the cognitive ability rivaling our own. To me, his writing has always been a dare, daring humanity to be bold enough to imagine thinking machines as he had imagined. The very same spirit of curiosity and ambition also gripped early computer scientists in America, who not only convened the first research project to explore possibilities of thinking machines, they also coined the term artificial intelligence itself in the steamy summer of 1956, decades before it reached public consciousness. And this is the screenshot of the very research paper they wrote for this workshop. Admittedly, what was really amusing is they think that in 2 months, they would solve a huge part of this problem and unravel the mystery of intelligence. Maybe they were a little optimistic, but you have to admire their audacity. Today, we're 820 months into that 2-month project, but we made some solid progress. Another misconception of AI is that it's simply a matter of computers and engineering, when in fact, it has always been a multidisciplinary pursuit of incredible vibrance. The modern AI era that we are living in now is a result of the convergence of three profoundly important yet distinctive technological and scientific advances. First is the study of perceptual algorithms, how living creatures like animals or even ourselves make sense of the world around us, and eventually the creation of mathematical models that allow machines to do the same. A few years after Alan Turing's daring conjecture at the Dartmouth AI Summer Workshop, neurophysiologists Hubel and Wiesel have shed first light on the hierarchical architecture of neuronal processing of the mammalian visual cortex, earning them a Nobel Prize and transforming our understanding of the visual processing. Around then, psychologist Frank Rosenblatt built one of the first prototypes of neural network called Perceptron. This work would go on to inspire decades of computer scientists, especially early pioneers like Kunihiko Fukushima, Jeff Hinton, Yang LeCun, Joshua Bengio, among others, to devise increasingly sophisticated models, culminating in the deep learning neural network algorithms we know today, giving our machines uncanny ability of their own. At the same time, a second thread started to emerge. Cognitive scientists are looking deeper and deeper into our own minds, shedding light on the astonishing depth and sophistication of our own ability to perceive our surroundings. A clear conclusion of their work was that there is no separating our brains from the environments in which they evolved from. Brains are simply machines locked away in the darkness of our skulls, but eager students learning from each glimpse of light, tinge of touch, whisper of sound from the earliest moment of life. For me, in particular, as a scientist coming of age at the dawn of the 21st century, when perceptual algorithms were almost the sole focus of my field, the lesson of the cognitive science was one of scale. The evolutionary and developmental process have benefited from an enormous amount of data to drive our own learning. My collaborators and students and I conjectured that the same would be true for machines. But this time, instead of collecting data using biological sensors, they will come from modern digital devices and the internet. This inspired my own lab's project, ImageNet, the first internet-scale training and evaluation dataset for AI. Our hypothesis of data as the key to high-capacity algorithms like neural network brought them back to life in ways that previously unreachable, and kicked off a global trend in using big data for AI, now known as part of the scaling law of AI. Finally, however, none of these achievements would have been possible or would have made it to the first passing the starting block without the extraordinarily powerful systems to run them. It began with the milestones like development of the von Neumann architecture, a paradigm of computer architecture first proposed in the 1940s and is still followed today, leading to the first microprocessors in the early 1970s. But amusingly, It was video games that helped push the raw speed of silicon into overdrive. A cottage industry beginning in the early 1990s to make game graphics more detailed exploded into a global powerhouse within just a couple of decades as giants like NVIDIA built increasingly powerful graphics processing units, or GPUs. This turned out to be the last missing puzzle to enable network algorithms to learn from internet-scale big data. So if there are any gamers out there, we have to thank you for this. The rest, of course, isn't just history. It's the recipe for building the future. In 2012, at the ImageNet Challenge, my lab has pioneered each of these three ingredients, algorithms, data, and compute, came together for the first time at a scale big enough to transform my field almost overnight. It was the first time machines could understand and reliably describe contents of images, millions and millions of them. It's something we now take for granted today, but it was an unsolved problem at the time, an ability that felt like science fiction. And it was the first domino piece to fall in a progression of milestones that only seemed to come faster and faster as the years passed by. Now, over a decade later, we're still exploring the implication of what this all means. What began as an academic curiosity is now enjoying year after year of breathless attention from business leaders, entrepreneurs, industry analysts, and even politicians with no end in sight. We're now a decade or so into what historians would surely refer as the first true era of AI. By almost any metric you can name, whether it's the CS degrees, AI programs, investment funding, new startups, and much else, AI is a revolution that's only growing in scope and scale. None of you need me to explain that over the last couple of years, AI took another, even more staggering turn with the advent of large language models, which scale each of these three ingredients of modern AI to even bigger extent. A new architecture called Transformer trained on effectively the entire internet of data, powered by a staggering number of the latest and best chips. The result, as we have all seen, was an even bigger explosion in machines' ability than those of the last decade. We now take it for granted that AI can talk to us fluently in natural language, answering questions on almost any topic we ask, and even generate complex forms of almost any imagery, voice, music, and videos. The astonishing success of ChatGPT, which set record for user adoption, says it all about the impact of this innovation that has made on everyday lives. And the capabilities aren't just superficial. If you look at this chart, the performance of AI models across a whole range of benchmarks, from handwriting recognition to PhD-level scientific questions, has skyrocketed in recent years, with some of the performance trajectory on some of the most challenging tasks to humans are nearly vertical. And starting from the fluency of languages, large language models are now taking on a more active role in problem solving, breaking down tasks and planning steps towards achieving goals in real world. Agentic AI, as many are calling it now in 2025, is the latest chapter of this consequential technology for many users and businesses. But there is still more yet to come. There's more than language intelligence. Think about humans and our holistic being as an intelligent being. A new chapter is dawning, one in which the capacity for idle perception is expanding into something far more active. In my own world of cameras and robots, AI is starting to create, understand, reason, and interact in intangible 3D spaces. Whether digital or physical, it can be used to interact with people and things. And we call this spatial and embodied intelligence. Take an image like this one as an example. Our visual intelligence make it easy for us to recognize everything that's in it. The cat, the potted plant, the table, and of course, that glass of milk. But is that really all perception our perception is giving us? I'm willing to bet if some of you look at this picture, there's more than a few of you are just understanding this image, but also you're dying to reach out and grab the glass of milk before it shatters over the floor. This is a trivial example, but it highlights how profound the difference is from merely observing to acting. It illustrates the inflection point I believe we're about to be reaching, at which AI goes from an observer to an actor alongside us. In fact, with respect to my hero, Alan Turing, I now believe his vision of the future was too narrow and too inward-facing. Evolution itself has taught us unequivocally that the real power of intelligence isn't merely to think, but to drive action with those thoughts. Just think about how much humans' spatial intelligence has empowered us to build our civilization, from ancient pyramids to industrial revolution, from scientific discovery to artistic expression. How will our relationship with the world around us change even further when AI expands our spatial and embodied intelligence? What will it help us to create and discover? What kind of future are we already in the process of building? Well, here's a glimpse of the rapidly evolving technology of spatial intelligence. I'm showing you here 4 examples by my students at Stanford and colleagues at World Labs, ranging from the top, the upper left panel is the semantic labeling of complex everyday videos, to the upper right panel, artistic style transfer, to the lower left panel, generative AI algorithms creating videos from text prompts, to the lower right panel, making 3D worlds from any image. And that's right, you're indeed seeing the beloved painting by Van Gogh of a French cafe brought into an imaginary 3D world by our generative AI models. And equally exciting, robotics, a form of embodied AI, is also rapidly advancing. These 2 work from my lab are the latest example of combining robotic learning with large language and vision models, allowing robots to perform everyday human tasks in much more open, realistic settings compared to the previous generation of robots that were highly programmed and choreographed. These are exciting possibilities. But if AI were truly become not only thinking machines, but also doing machines, our collective responsibility in shepherding this technology becomes even more urgent and important. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say All this has brought us to a moment of civilizational consequences. So how are we going to navigate this? I think this is also the purpose of our gathering this week. This question has guided my work for years. While I'm certain there are no easy answers to be found, one theme continuously to run across all my work. This is what I call human-centered AI, which consists of three simple values: dignity, agency, and community. First is dignity. In the face of more and more powerful technologies, we as humans are often confronting the question of what defines us, stripping away from all the tasks we're able to do, the fundamental pride of being who we are, making decisions on our own, and conducting actions by ourselves is still central to our very being. Nothing would excite me more if this technology can help protect and even return that sense of dignity to all of us, especially to the most vulnerable. And this is an example how robotics and AI technology can one day help endow the sense of autonomy to even the most paralyzed patients. In this Stanford project by my collaborators, students, a robotic arm is controlled purely by the thoughts of the person, collected non-invasively through EEG and the recording of brain waves. Our AI algorithms are able to decode that person's thoughts and instruction and guide a robotic arm to make a full Japanese sukiyaki meal. Second is agency. A core tenet of my lab's work has been exploring applications of AI that augments what humans are capable of instead of replacing them. Jobs will inevitably be impacted by the progress of AI, just as every major technological shift in history has reshaped the labor market. But instead of believing that AI help to augment and empower us, from creativity to healthcare, from scientific discovery to manufacturing. Much of AI's skill set are complementary to that of humans. There's so much opportunity for us to take advantage of this digital or physical collaborator to superpower ourselves. My lab's work in the past decade in AI healthcare delivery has shown me many opportunities for AI to help to improve the quality of care and to alleviate the burdens of our healthcare workers. Here are three examples of using smart cameras powered by AI algorithm to help hospitals to improve hand hygiene practice by clinicians, to help document patient mobility exercises, and to assist surgical instrument tracking. Last but not the least is community. So much of the last decade has been a story of technology tearing us apart. Filter bubbles, rage bait, and all the likes. AI is at another fork in this road, with one leading to AI that overshadow real social experiences and personally tailored content that confirms our biases. But on the other path leads towards a world in which AI helps us to build better, bigger, and more robust communities, such as educational assistants that bring the ability to learn to more and more people, kids and grown-ups alike. Here's just two quick examples. On the left, using AI and VR to support dyslexic college students as personalized learning tools. On the right is an AI expert created by University of Buffalo in the US, focusing on augmenting the shortage of speech language pathologists to come to early intervention for children aged 3 to 10 with speech and language processing challenges. All these bring me to the last idea I would like to share with you today. At this civilizational moment, how can we work together to govern AI in a way that preserves the astonishing potential in a rational, practical, and responsible way? For starters, it's essential that we govern on the basis of science, not science fiction. From the Main Street to the Wall Street, so much of today's AI conversations are colored by sensationalism and hyperbole, resulting in misleading policies of AI governance. Instead, we need to apply a much more scientific method in assessing and measuring AI's capability and limitations, which can consequentially lead to more precise, actionable policies grounded in reality. In turn, this brings me to the second point of embracing a pragmatic attitude instead of an ideological one when it comes to AI governance. AI is poised to be a powerful technology that can help us to live and work better if used well. So instead of hindering the upstream exploration and research of this still very young technology, we should put more focus on its practical applications so that we can ensure its benevolent usage and to guard against harmful outcomes. Finally, we need to invest in far more healthier and vibrant AI ecosystem where academia, entrepreneurs, open source communities, and public sector can all participate and play their critical role alongside big companies in driving this technology forward. If AI is going to change the world, we need everyone from all walks of life to have a role in shaping this change. Earlier in this talk, I spoke about 3 critical ingredients that brought us modern AI: algorithms, data, and compute. If the bulk of these resources are concentrated in only a handful of companies, the AI ecosystem will suffer from the lack of curiosity-driven research, top educational talents, open source efforts, and multidisciplinary explorations. So 75 years ago, Alan Turing saw a glimpse of the future and was inspired enough to dare humanity to build a thinking machine. Today, we have taken Turing's dare to a level that he probably could not have imagined. The technological advances of the age of AI is breathtaking. I believe time has come for new kinds of dare. Rather than simply asking if we can create AI, let's ask if we can create AI as a force of good. In short, today, I would like to dare all of us to build a human-centered AI. Thank you.
Thank you so much, dear Fei Fei. Thank you. Let them take pictures of us. Yeah, I'll be so proud. Thank you. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you. I much appreciate it.